Welcome to Subramani. It is easy to talk a lot about risk, but risk, you realize, is something very personal. So some people get scared of heights, some people get scared of bungee jumping, some people get scared of flights. Some people get scared of riding down on a mountain on a bicycle, and some risks you conquer with more and more of experience. Let's take the experience of death. What happens is you will never be able to conquer the fear of death unless you there is one way to do it, is to attend funerals. So I must have attended upwards of 160 170 funerals of people known, somewhat known, a little unknown when it comes to some new neighbors. Yeah, but lots of funerals I've attended. I've actually carried the body. I've gone to the crematorium. It's never bothered me that the dead body never bothered me. And I've attended funeral of younger people, of obviously old, or mostly older people, and about 5 or 7 funerals in the last few years of people above the age of 100. I had the oldest person I've attended must be 105. So why am I saying all this? Attending so many funerals has done one thing for me. It has completely removed the fear of death. Death does not scare me anymore, right? However, so why am I talking about death again? So, well, similarly, I have been in the equity markets since 1979. And I have known that every 10 years, one such event happens which takes the wind out of the sail of every equity player. So, whether it was Harshad, whether it was Ketan, whether it was the 2008 crash, right? So, somewhat you get prepared for it. So, I wouldn't say I was prepared for the coronavirus, but when the coronavirus hit, and in the month of March the market fell, I was completely ready for the fall. What I did was I took out all the shares which I hold, and I said, when these share prices fall, to me it doesn't matter why it falls, I am a buyer. So I went and bought EID Parry, Motherson Sumi, Vedanta Limited, Cholamandalam, Coromandel Fertilizer, and the Coromandel Fertilizer didn't fall enough, and all those Sun Pharma. These are the shares which come to mind, but yes, most of these shares, Tata Power had been beaten down. So all these shares which anyway I thought were good buys, I had a list and I just went on a buying spree in the month of March when the market fell. And when the market went up in April or May itself, I sold off all those shares, because when I bought it for this V trade. I knew that when the market falls dramatically, it will also recover. So a fall like this will be met by a rise like this. And I recovered in all these shares. I doubled my money, or at least almost doubled my money in some of the shares, and I sold off. Why did I sell off? Because this was a pure opportunity trade. It was not meant to reduce the average cost of my investment, or increase the average cost of my investment, or to increase my total investment itself. This was not that. I was not buying EID Parry at 110 rupees to reduce my overall cost, right? The overall cost could be whatever it is. So this was a trade separately done. So what happens is, when everybody else is getting scared and reading the media saying how the world is doomed and how coronavirus will take its toll, I remember getting a nice write-up from one of the fund managers saying this is not the end of the world. I think I've produced, I have it in subramani.com, and so I said, okay, this is not the end of the world. Luckily, I had sold some shares and I was sitting on some cash. I had some money in the savings bank account. I just went and bought a long list of shares. Why did I buy a long list? Because I didn't know how the recovery would be. If I knew all the recovery would be so quick, maybe I would have just bought the Nifty. Maybe I would have just bought one mutual fund. I bought the mutual fund. I bought Nifty also, because I said, let me cover all those shares which I am not, I am not participating. For example, I did not have much of PSUs. So it made sense for me to buy the Nifty, and I bought the Nifty. I also bought one large cap in stock, which large cap mutual fund, which also I exited. The advantages in all this, I pay long-term capital gains because all these shares are things which I've already held in my portfolio, so it didn't really matter in terms of taxation. But even 20% tax would have been okay, because there would have been some other short-term capital loss or something to be set off. So you end up paying 15-16% of tax, and that's fine. You cannot worry about everything in one transaction. Now, but it doesn't mean that I'm so brave everywhere. I'm not so brave when it comes to long-term care. I'm very, very scared of what will happen to somebody, including me, that if I need long-term care from the age of 75 till the age of 90, being taken care of for 15 years by strangers is not a very great thing to feel great about, right? To feel good about. You will get scared of this. Luckily for my parents, my father needed long-term care only maybe the last 2 years of his life. Yes, he had a dementia problem for about 2 years, but looking after was not such a big problem. He was bedridden maybe for the last 1 month of his life, or 45 days. So that is scary, because I'm not worried about death, and I'm sure I can say that for very many people, death is not so worrying. What is worrying is long-term living and being dependent on somebody. Why are we more scared than our parents were? Because our parents had 2 children, and luckily, at least for my father, we both are alive when he needed this service, but all the service was provided by my mom. The question is, what happens if if you're single and we all have 1 child, and or maybe maximum of 2 children. What happens if we lose our children before we need care? Who is going to provide the financial support? We will provide, but who is going to provide the moral support? Who is going to sign the checks? Who is going to look after our finances? Those questions really scare me. I don't know whether you guys have come out with the answers for this. If you are in your 50s or 60s, I think you should worry about those things also. So the question is, when you are worried about something or you're scared about something, try addressing it. Like if you're worried or scared about death, try attending funerals. You're worried about long-term care, I seriously do not have a solution, but there are certain things you can try. You can teach your children enough about finances to say, okay, this is what you will do. Secondly, if you think you have enough money anyway, or rather you have much more than what you need, then you can simply index your portfolio and partly annuitize your portfolio. Yes, annuity is very inefficient, but it is very simple. You will pay income tax on it. Yes, that is a problem. So buy a small annuity. I would prefer annuity being bought in 2-3 stages. So maybe you make it 4 stages. That doesn't really matter. Till then, let your money be in index fund and ultra short bond fund, and that's it. Just stick to 1 or 2 funds. Simplify, so that your wife can also look after it, because many women are reluctant to listen to something a little more complicated. So teach that to your children. Make your will, and in your will you can also have a longish statement on what to do with the other assets, right? So what do you want to do? Like in your will, you cannot write anything about your pet. So you write about your pet, etc. in a handing over document. There you say, in case you are unwell or unfit and unable to handle, then all the mutual funds and equity should be sold, redeemed, and put into XYZ index fund. Just name it, doesn't matter. UTI index fund, SBI index fund, something, you name it. and say I want the money to be remaining in ultra short bond fund and here, and that's it, and I will do a drawdown from the ultra short bond fund, and once in a while you transfer the money from the index fund to the ultra short bond fund. Or you can say, okay, since I have more than enough, I will keep little amount of money in bank fixed deposit and I will buy annuities. So the annuity will come to you, annuity with return of premium or with. So an annuity could be with a return of premium or without a return of premium. If you have nobody after you, which means you've lost your spouse and you're the last person surviving, then after that you buy annuity without return of premium, because you really don't care what happens to your corpus after you have gone. So whatever age it be, maybe you're 85 or 86, and just remember to put lot of money in annuity, put some money in bank fixed deposits in case you need for an emergency, you need money. So leave some money there, leave some money in an annuity, and that's it. Simplify as much as possible. Then long-term care, move into a place where there is long-term care provided, because you don't have children who will be able to look after you. I'm saying two things. One is children who don't want to look after you, or those children who can't look after you for various personal reasons. If they're themselves unwell, and if they're themselves say how much effort are you expecting from a 75-year-old diabetic widower son? You're not going to expect too much from him, right? So those conditions, you need to provide for all this yourself. A, you can provide the money. B, decide where you want to live, how do you want to live, and make sure that enough documentation is done. Involve some friends, children or nephew or niece, whoever it is, and give them a fee and say this is what you will do, because you will anyway have a house or things like that. So making an offer to a nephew to say, come stay with me, after me this house will belong to you, until then look after me. Fair enough, you can make such offers also. So think about those things, think about those solutions, and that's what will help. Thank you.